I'm recording with one hand, so bear with me. This is a 2-card combo. Third card in hand. It's just going to be discard fodder that you will recoup. It will not be a loss. This combo has 2 variations. The FTK variation, if you decide to play a more Factor Pain and Thunder of Ruler. But I'm playing Blind Second Board Breaker Drytrons. So my goal is to break my opponent's board and set up for the following turn, while locking them out of monster effects and spell and traps. 2 cards that you definitely need to see or some variation of, Drytron Nova and Vendread Battlelord. You can also do this combo with a 3-name hand as long as 2 of those names are Alpha and Zeta. Same restrictions still apply. First, we're going to activate Drytron Nova. Drytron Nova is going to summon out the Zeta from deck. You will link off the Zeta for your Link Karibo. I am playing left-handed for the sake of strategy because most players are used to playing against a player that is right-handed. Worst case scenario, they make a mistake and put something in the wrong column and open up some other plays, but that's just a big if. Second, we're going to activate our Zeta from graveyard by pitching our Vendread Battlelord. Zeta will summon itself, doesn't matter which column. Zeta will be searching the Vendread ritual spell, Revendread Origin. That is important because that is the first ritual spell that we will be activating. Let me see if I can find it. There we go. Revendread Evolution. After we search the Vendread Evolution, we are going to activate it. It will allow us to ritual summon the Vendread Battlelord from our graveyard by pitching another zombie from our deck to the grave as material. As a result, we can essentially get Vendread Battlelord out for free. Vendread Battlelord on summon. His effect is you can banish 1 zombie from your graveyard to call either monster spells or traps to lock your opponent out of using those kinds of effects for the entire turn. So we're going to banish our Vendread Battlelord that we use as material to lock our opponent out of monster effects. That means that we are now safe from hand traps. The only hand trap we have to worry about at this point is Imperm. But at this point, your opponent probably doesn't know where you're going with this, and they're probably going to shotgun Imperm too soon. And you have a way to play around Imperm if they hit the wrong target. If it's one of those cards that doesn't help to further the combo, but just help to give you more presence and more names, then they will have wasted their Imperm. At this, we're going to link away our Zeta to link summon into Relinquish Anima. At this point, we have 3 dark monsters on the board with different types. We have Cyberse Link Karibo, we have Spellcaster Relinquish Anima, we have Zombie Vendread Battlelord. We're going to link away all 3. For Curious Lightsworn Dominion. Sorry for the proxy, mine's coming in the mail. The other effect of Vendread Battlelord, whenever it is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can send another Vendread card from your deck to the graveyard, which is why you happen to have to play 3 Vendread Battlelords, because in order to continue the combo, you need the 3rd one in deck. If you happen to open 2 in hand, you can also use the second Vendread in your opening hand to ritual summon the Vendread back from your graveyard. That way you keep the 3rd one in your deck. But you send another Vendread name from your deck to the grave to add to your hand a copy of Ben 10. It lets you search any generic ritual, which is amazing. Also, off your Curious Lightsworn Dominion, since she was summoned, we will be sending to the grave 1 copy of Gamma. Now we have Ben 10 in hand. We have Gamma in grave. We'll be tributing the Ben 10 to get out the Gamma. Ben 10 will proc after Gamma. Gamma is going to be summoning back the Zeta. Ben 10 will be searching another copy of Ben 10. It is important that you search another copy of Ben 10 at this point, because if you go for the Diviner too soon, you won't have enough materials to ritual summon later on in the combo. We will be overlaying both Zeta and Gamma for Mu Beta Fafnir. Mu Beta Fafnir at this point will use this effect to send Alpha to the grave. We will be using Alpha from the grave, triggering the bin 10 from hand, summoning the Alpha. Bin 10 is now in grave. Alpha's on field. Alpha is going to search Odd Eyes Gravity Dragon. Bin 10 is going to search our Diviner of the Herald. We are going to normal summon Diviner of the Herald, use the effect of Diviner, pitching Herald of the Arclight to the grave. Herald of the Arclight is finally going to search us Meteornus Drytron. That's why you want to search your Vendread Ritual spell first instead of your Meteornus Drytron. We will use the effect of Meteornus Drytron to detach the Zeta from the Beta Fafnir, to summon the bin 10 back from the grave. Now we have 2 level 6s on board. At this point, it is important to go for Beatrice. If you decided to play the Crystal Wing package, you could. It would give you another link material for you to at least finish the combo. However, going for Beatrice allows you to set up for the following turn because you can send any spell or trap to the graveyard off of her effect in order to reset it with Nightmare Griffin, which is also part of the combo. So we'll be overlaying for Beatrice instead of going for the Crystal Wing package. Also, Crystal Wing makes the extra deck a little bit too tight. If I figure out a way to make it more optimal, I will try to fit something in to see if I can make it go that route. But at this point, we've already locked our opponent out of monster effects, so that's not something we have to worry about anymore. We will use the effect of Beatrice, detaching the bin 10. The 2 main deck options that I have that I like to play to pitch off Beatrice is either Forbidden Droplet, so that I can set it and follow up with it during my next turn, or during the opponent's turn actually, or you can send Chaos Space so that you can actually use the effect in grave to put your banished Vendread Battlelord to the bottom of your deck and get another draw just in case you don't draw it into something that you can use during your opponent's turn. For the sake of this combo, we'll go ahead and use Beatrice to send off the Chaos Space. Then in grave, we will use the effect of the Meteornus Drytron, targeting the Alpha. Alpha will drop to 1,000. We'll add it back to hand. We will use Meteornus Drytron to use both Mu Beta Fafnir and the Gamma attached to it as material. That is a legal play. So that's 3,000 attack point value to summon Odd Eyes Gravity Dragon. Odd Eyes Gravity Dragon on summon bounces all of your opponent's spells and traps, and they also cannot activate those spells and traps in response to that activation, bouncing all of them back to the hand. And if they were to activate any other effects in response to that, which they can't do monsters, but afterwards, let's say they have something in the graveyard that they want to activate, they then have to pay 500 life points per card to activate. That is pretty much the entire combo. At this point, we're just re-solidifying our board. So we will be linking off the Alpha and the Beatrice to go for a link 2. Now the link 2 that you go for is flexible. I chose to play Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Cerberus because either or can come up. Let's just say they did happen to have an interruption for Odd Eyes Gravity Dragon. I could go for Nightmare Phoenix to pop a spell or a trap and discard as a result. Or if they happen to have a monster on the board, I can go for Nightmare Cerberus and pop a monster as a result. I like to go for Cerberus if they have a monster because Cerberus also has a co-link effect where if it is co-linked, all co-linked monsters on the board cannot be destroyed by card effects. So it helps protect your board a little bit better than Nightmare Phoenix that only protects from being destroyed by battle. We still have link 4 on the board. We have the link 3 Curious. We have the 1 material Odd Eyes Gravity Dragon, so we can go for a link 4 play. At this point, you could go for Access Code Talker, co-link to Nightmare Cerberus, which means it can't be destroyed by card effects, which is essentially what Drytrons used to do by playing IP Masquerena. It mitigates that process altogether while freeing up another slot in the extra deck. You can also go for other link 4 plays if you think you have board on game. I mean, if you have a game on board, you could go for... I'm trying to think. You can go for some other link 4s, but Access Code Talker is pretty decent because at this point you have 2 different link attributes in the graveyard between your Curious, your Relinquished Anima, and your Curious Lightsworn Dominion, which also you could use as part of the effect. If you were to banish him off of Axis Code Talker, you could then use your Chaos Space from Grave to bring back one of those banished light or dark link monsters to be able to get another draw. But I digress. Instead of going for Axis Code Talker for the sake of this combo, we'll go for Nightmare Griffin. Nightmare Griffin is co-linked, so we can use the effect to pitch from hand. I just happen to have a Forbidden Droplet in hand, it doesn't matter. Let's just say I had it in the grave or another copy in grave. Whatever I discard, I'll be able to reset the Forbidden Droplet back to my field to be able to activate during my opponent's turn. That was a 2-card combo. I was able to recoup my loss from the discard, and I now have an interruption on the field as well as 3 other cards in my hand. So I can send 3 materials off of Forbidden Droplet during my opponent's turn, preferably monsters and spells. If I happen to have the trap that I side in, I can have monster spells and traps, have 3 interruptions. My board cannot be destroyed by card effects, so I don't have to worry about Lightning Storm or Raigeki. Dark Ruler No More is still a threat. Imperm is still a threat. Other traps is still a threat. But at this point, with 3 other cards in my hand, I can proceed to loop Cyber Angel Natasha if I'm able to get to it from my graveyard, stealing my opponent's monsters, potentially stealing Link monsters and having them co-linked as well, because I can steal them over to Nightmare Griffin's empty zone and co-link them, or just steal monsters to make sure that I can attack for game afterwards, potentially steal one of my opponent's negates because they're locked out of monster effects for the rest of the turn anyway. That is the combo.